Hello everyone, hope you all are fine. So this is Shikha, and today in this video we will cover the leftover part of the nutrition in the plant. See children, in the previous video we have read something about the nutrition in the plants, that how the plants are able to prepare their own food, with the help of which process they are able to prepare their own food. Now in this video we will study the other things about whatever the leftover part of the nutrition in plants is there, that we will study in this video. Further from that, in the previous video we have also read about the modes of nutrition, that by which mode of nutrition the plants are intaking the nutrition, that is the heterotrophic mode of nutrition and the autotrophic mode of nutrition. Fine. So in this video we will study the leftover part of the nutrition in the plant. So let's start. Now see what are the other things that the plants are able to synthesize other than the carbohydrates. This is the very first thing that we have to read. Now see children, as we have read in the photosynthesis that how the plants are able to prepare their own food. The plants are able to prepare their own food by the process of the photosynthesis. And how they are doing this process of the photosynthesis? They are utilizing the inorganic raw materials. And which inorganic raw materials they are using? They are using the carbon dioxide, they are using the water and the minerals from the soil. Carbon dioxide they are using it from the atmosphere, and in the presence of the sunlight, and how they are absorbing the sunlight, how they are absorbing the solar energy with the help of a green color pigment, that is called as a chlorophyll. So by using all these kinds of the inorganic raw materials, the plants are able to prepare their own food. Since these plants are able to prepare their own food, that's why these plants are called as a autotrophs, and the mode of the nutrition is a autotrophic mode of the nutrition. So by using all these kinds of the raw material, which kind of the nutrients the plants are able to prepare or they are able to synthesize? They are able to synthesize the carbohydrates. But the question is that what are the other nutrients which the plants are able to synthesize other than the carbohydrates? So yes, the plants are able to synthesize the proteins, vitamins, etc. Proteins, vitamins, etc. Now see, protein is what? Protein is a kind of the nitrogenous substances. Now for synthesizing this protein, some amount of the nitrogen is also required. So the question is that from where the plants are getting the nitrogen? Since we have read that plants are only intaking the carbon dioxide, they are not intaking the nitrogen. So see children, the answer is that in the soil certain kind of the bacterias are found. Fine. And this also we have read that the nitrogen is present in the atmosphere in an abundance, means 78% of the nitrogen is present in the atmosphere. So it is present in an abundance form. But the question is that how that gaseous form of the nitrogen which is present in the atmosphere is used by the plants. So in the soil certain kind of the bacterias are found which convert this gaseous form of the nitrogen into the soluble form, and after that they are releasing it in the soil. And when the root absorb the water and the minerals from the soil, then along with the water they also absorb the nitrogen from the soil. Thus these plants are fulfilling their requirements of the nitrogen, and thus by using this nitrogen, water and other minerals, the plants are also able to synthesize the other nutrients, that is called as the proteins and the vitamins, etc. So thus with the help of the soil, in the soil a certain kind of the bacteria is present which convert this nitrogen which was present in the gaseous form into a usable form, into a soluble form in the soil, and thus the plants are able to fulfill their nitrogen requirements, and thus they are able to synthesize the proteins, etc. In a very simple way. Now the next thing that we have to study, that what are the other mode of the nutrition in the plants. Now as we have read in the autotrophic mode of nutrition, that there are the organisms which are able to prepare their own food, and the organism which are able to prepare their own food is called what? They are called as a autotrophs. And we have also read that the autotrophs are what? Autotrophs are the plants. But there are some kind of the plants which are not able to prepare their own food. So the organism which are not able to prepare their own food, and they are getting the nutrition from the other organism is called what? They are called as a heterotrophic mode of the nutrition. So some plants are also there, they also comes under the heterotrophs because they are not able to prepare their own food. And the example of this heterotrophic mode of the nutrition is the cascata or the marble. Now see children, that why these plants are not able to prepare their own food. Because they don't have the green color pigment that is called as a chlorophyll. So since they don't have a chlorophyll that is called as a green color pigment, so they are not able to absorb the sunlight, they are not able to absorb the solar energy. That's why they are not able to synthesize their own food. Now how they are able to survive? The question is that how they are able to survive. So they are able to survive by getting the nutrients from the other plants. As you can see here, that a marble has a wiry like structure and it climbs over any other kind of the tree. Now when it climbs over any other kind of the tree, then it is getting their nutrients from that particular tree on which it is climbing. Fine. So the food or the nutrition which the plant or which the marble is getting from any particular tree is called what? That is called as a host. And the cascata, or the other name of the cascata is a marble, and the marble is called as a parasite. Why it is called as a parasite? Because it is getting their nutrients from the other plant. The whatever the nutrients is required by the cascata or the marble, they are fulfilling their requirements, they are getting their nutrients from the other plant on which it has climbed. And so that plant from which the cascata is obtaining the nutrients, that is called as a host, and the cascata is called what? It is called as a parasite. So don't get confused with the host and the parasite. Host is what? From which the cascata is getting the nutrients, and the parasite is a marble because it is obtaining the nutrients from that particular plant on which it has climbed. So this is the heterotrophic mode of the nutrition that is found in the cascata, or the other name of the cascata is also called as a marble. Now see children, the next thing that we have to read about the insectivorous plant. So first of all, have a look on the pictures. Now see, this picture is indicating towards the insectivorous plant. That here you can see that this house fly or any kind of the fly gets trapped in between this, just a minute, that gets trapped in between this slit. And here also you can see that the leaves are converted into a pitcher like shape. So this leaves are of the pitcher plant, and this is the Venus flytrap plant. So let's study about the insectivorous plants. So see children, what are the insectivorous plants? The insectivorous plants are those plants, and it also comes under the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. It is, or we can say that it is partially heterotrophic mode of nutrition, because as you can say that you can see clearly that they are green in color. So since they are green in color, so they are able to prepare their own food, but they are also getting the nutrition from the different kinds of the insects and the small animals also, as you can see here. So the insectivorous plants are what? Insectivorous plants are those plants which are getting their nutrition from the small animals and from the small insects. Now in this insectivorous plants, there is some kind of the digestive juice is also found. So with the help of these digestive juice, they are able to digest any kind of the animal or insect easily. So the first one that you can see, that this is a pitcher plant. And why it is called as a pitcher plant? Because it turns its leaf into a pitcher like structure. Its leaves is like a pitcher like structure, as you can see here, and the upper part of this leaves is open. Now see what happens when any insect or when any small animal sits on the lid of this pitcher plant, then it closes its lid. When any insect sits on this pitcher plant, then it closes its lid. The insects slip inside it and get trapped in the hair. Now inside this pitcher, some kind of the enzymes are also released which digest the insect. Now the other thing about the pitcher plant is that the pitcher plant has also hair inside it. And how this hair is inside this pitcher plant? These hair are directed downward so that the insect gets trapped easily in this pitcher leaf. So whenever any insect sits on this pitcher plant, it closes its lid simply and the insect slips inside it and gets trapped in the hair. And that's why, since the hair are directed downwards, that's why that insect is not able to not move out from that pitcher leaves. So inside the pitcher, now some kind of the enzymes are also released. With the help of these enzymes, that particular insect which get trapped in this pitcher plant is digested easily. Now the next one, that this is a example of the Venus flytrap plant. Now this is also an insectivorous plant. As you can see here, that as any insect sit inside the leaves of this plant, any housefly or small mouse, etc., whenever any small animal sits in between this in the between the leaves of this Venus flytrap plant, then it closes its leaves simply, and they are also secreting a kind of the juices. With the help of these juices, these plants are also able to digest that particular small insect easily. So these are the two examples of the insectivorous plants which are fulfilling their requirements, or which are getting their nutrients from the small organism, etc. And in these kinds of the plants, some kind of the juices are also secreted, and in these juices some kind of the enzymes are present. So these enzymes act on that particular insect and the animal which get trapped in the leaves of these plants, and thus these animals are easily digested. So this is all about the insectivorous plant, and the example of the insectivorous plant is a pitcher plant as well as a Venus flytrap plant. Now the next one that we have to study about the saprotrophs. So saprotrophs are the another mode of the nutrition, and this is found in the saprotrophs. So see children, all of us are cooking a kind of the vegetable that is called as a mushroom in our home, and most of us are liking the mushrooms also. So the mushrooms that we are cooking in our home, and the next one is a kind of the fungi that you can see it in your or garden, or wherever you are planting the trees also. There you must have seen that this is a umbrella like structure. A small plant is formed, and they are not green in color, mostly they are little bit brown in color or white in color. So these two are the examples of the fungi. What are these called? This is called as a fungi. Now why these organisms are called as a fungi, and which kind of the nutrition takes place in this fungi, this we have to study. Now see children, as we have studied that the plants or the organism which are dependent on the other organism for fulfilling their requirements, they all come under the heterotrophic mode of the nutrition. So saprotrophs also come under the heterotrophic mode of the nutrition. Now the main thing about the saprotrophs is that these organisms are getting their nutrition, or they are fulfilling their requirements with the help of the other organism. And with the help of which organism? With the help of the dead and the decaying matter. That's why the kind of the nutrition which is found in these plants is called as a saprotrophic mode of the nutrition. So what is a saprotrophic mode of nutrition? The mode of nutrition in which the organism fulfill their requirements from the dead and the decaying matter. They are not taking the nutrients from any kind of the animals or the plants, etc. Whatever the dead and the decaying matter is here, from that only they are fulfilling their requirements. So these kinds of the organism or these kinds of the plants are called as a saprotrophs, and the mode of nutrition in these plants is called as a saprotrophic mode of the nutrition. Now see children, as you can see it in your home also, that sometimes what happens mainly in the monsoon season. In the monsoon season you must have seen that on the bread mold, sometimes you must have seen when any kind of the bread packet is kept over in your home for a long time, then you can see a green color patches is formed on that bread mold. Fine. So whatever the green color patches you are seeing on that bread mold is called what? That is also a kind of the fungi. And sometimes in your home also you must have seen the pickles most of you are eating. In pickles also you must have seen that a white color part is there, mainly in the monsoon season, in the rainy season. Fine, so that is also a fungi. Sometimes in your clothes also, mostly in the rainy season, that suppose any black color cloth is there, and sometimes you see some kind of the white patches are formed on it. So whatever the white patches are formed on that particular cloth, so that is also called what? That is also a kind of the fungi. So fungi can grow anywhere. It may grow on the pickles, different kinds of the food items also. It may grow on the leather also, as well as on the clothes and the other things also which are kept in our home. Fine. And mostly in the rainy season, and when they grow on any kind of the particular food or any kind of the other things also, then they spoil those things also. Now see how this fungi grows on different food items, different clothes, etc. Now see in the environment, or you can say that in the air some kind of the fungal spores are always present in the air. So whenever these fungal spores get the sufficient requirement to grow up properly, means they get the proper warmth or the proper moisture, etc., then they immediately grow and germinate on that particular thing, whether they germinate on our clothes, whether they germinate on the soil also, whether they germinate on the leather or different kinds of the food items. And you can do the experiment in your home also. Take a bread mold and sprinkle some water on it and lift it for some time, for 2 or 3 days. Fine. And when that bread mold will get the proper warmth and the moisture, then you will see after 2-3 days that some green color patches are formed on it. So whatever the green color patches you are seeing on this bread mold, that is what? That is only the fungi. And how this fungi are able to germinate over each and every place? Because some kind of this fungal spores are always present in the air. So when these fungal spores get the sufficient conditions to grow, suppose they get the proper warmth as well as whatever the requirements there is a need for to germinate it, to grow it, they grow over any place very frequently. So what are the saprotrophs? Saprotrophs are those plants, or you can say those organisms, which are fulfilling their requirements from the dead and the decaying matter. So these kinds of the organism or these kinds of the plants are called as the saprotrophs, and the mode of nutrition is called as a saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Why? Because they are getting their nutrition from the dead and the decaying matter. Now the next one, as you can see here, that this is a picture of the bread mold is given, and as I have told you that you have to keep this bread mold or for some time, sprinkle some water on it, and after few days you will see a green color patches. Now this green color patches which you are seeing, that is called as a fungi, and this is the inner structure of the fungi. Now see students, what is the other thing? What is the other mode of the nutrition that we have to study? We have to study about the symbiosis. Now if you will break this symbiosis into two parts, then it gives the two meaning. That is, sim means, if you will break this symbiosis into two words, it will give the two meaning. That is, sim means together and the bio means life. So the organism, in this mode of nutrition, the organism, when the organism live together and both are benefited from each other, then in these kinds of the organism, a kind of the nutrition is found that is called as a symbiosis. So what is a symbiosis? Symbiosis is a kind of the nutrition which is found in those organisms which lives together and both are benefited from each other. Now the most common example of this symbiosis is the lichen. So in a lichen, what is there? In a lichen, two organisms are living together. One organism that is called as the algae or the alga, and the other organism that is called as a fungus. Now this alga and the fungus live together, and when they are living together, then they are fulfilling the requirements of each other. Now as you all know that algae is what? Algae is a kind of the autotroph, means the algae are able to prepare their own food. But fungus is what? As we have read just now, that fungus is what? Fungus is not able to prepare their own food, they are obtaining the nutrients or they are getting the food from the dead and the decaying matter. But being a fungus, so what is the work of both? How both of them are beneficial for each other. Now see, algae is what? Algae is an autotroph, so it is able to manufacture food. So when it prepare the food or manufacture food, it supplies its food to the fungi. On the other hand, as we have read that fungi is what? Fungi is a saprophyte, means it is getting the nutrient from the, it is getting the food from the dead and the decaying matter. So fungi being a saprophyte provides us water and minerals and shelter to the algae. So thus they both live together in an intimate association and are unable to live individually. So thus these organisms fulfill the requirements of each other and they are beneficial for each other. So symbiosis, as the word defines, that symbiosis is called what? It is called as this together life. Sym means together and the bios means life. So the symbiosis is what? Symbiosis is when the two organisms live together in a mutually beneficial relationship, means both of them are equally beneficial for each other. Fine. So that kind of the organism or that kind of the nutrition which is found in these organisms, that is called as a symbiosis. Fine. And the example of this is what? The example of it is a lichen. And in lichen, which two organisms are living together? The algae and the fungi both are living together and both are fulfilling the requirements of each other. Now the next one that we have to study, that how the nutrients are replenished in the soil. Now as we all know that plants are there. Now plants, from where they are getting the minerals and the nutrients from the soil? So they are getting the minerals, water, etc. from the soil. So when they are using these requirements or when they are using these minerals, so one condition will come, that the soil keep on declining. So it is also our duty that we also have to replenish that soils again. That's why you must have seen that the farmers are continuously adding some kind of the fertilizers and the manure, etc., so that the soil doesn't lack in the different kinds of the nutrients, and the nutrients which is required by all the plants, that is called as the nitrogen, phosphorus, etc. So these nutrients need to be added from time to time, so to enrich the soil, because it is our duty that since we are planting the trees, so the plants are getting their nutrients from the soil, and when they will keep on using this nutrition or these nutrients from the soil, then one condition will there, that in the soil will lack in the different kinds of the nutrients. So we have to add the manures and the different other kinds of the fertilizers, etc., so that the soil will enrich in the nutrients, in the different kinds of the nutrients. They don't get lack in the different kinds of the nutrients. So what we have to do, so that the soil will enrich, so whatever the nutrients in the soil, they don't get lack in the soil. So what we have to do, we have to add the sufficient amount of the manures in the soil. As well as this also we have to take care that whatever the manure and the fertilizers which we are adding to the soil, they are naturally obtained, because if you will add the chemical fertilizers continuously, then it will also harm the soil and it will also spoil the soil. So the next thing is that how we can use these manures in the soil, how we can use this organic manure and the fertilizer in the soil. So the best way is that you can plant the leguminous plant. Why it is advised to plant the leguminous plant? Because in this leguminous plant a kind of the bacteria is found. Now this bacteria, as we have read that the nitrogen is also present in the atmosphere in a sufficient amount, in the abundance, but it is present in the gaseous form. So how it can be useful for the plants? So what you have to do, we have to plant more and more leguminous plants, because in the roots of these leguminous plants a kind of the nodules is found. Right. Now in this roots a bacteria is found, that is called as the rhizobium bacteria. And what is the property of this bacteria? The property of this bacteria is that whatever the nitrogen is present in the atmosphere, atmosphere in the gaseous form, it converts that gaseous form of the nitrogen into the soluble form, and when it converts it into the soluble form, then it releases in the soil, and when it releases in the soil, then the particular plant absorb the water, and along with the water it also absorbs sufficient minerals from the soil. So thus we can enrich our soil again by planting different kinds of the leguminous plants, because when we will plant different kinds of the leguminous plant, then this leguminous plant, in these leguminous plant, a kind of bacteria is formed that is called as the rhizobium bacteria, and this rhizobium bacteria is helpful by what, that it converts the gaseous form of the nitrogen into the soluble form, and when this gaseous form of the nitrogen is converted into the soluble form, then the plant absorb the sufficient water and the minerals, as well as our soil also get replenished by the different kinds of the minerals which were found earlier also. Now the next one, we have read all the things. As you can see the picture of the leguminous plants, and mostly it is found in the pulses etc. Right, most of the pulses are open. Whatever the pulses we are eating different kinds of the pulses. So these pulses we are obtaining from the leguminous plant. So in this chapter what we have read about the plants, that the plants are the autotrophs, but some kind of the plants are there, they are also the heterotrophs, because they are not able to prepare their own food. So in the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, what we have studied about the saprophytic mode of nutrition, as well as we have also studied about the parasites, that some kind of the parasitic plants are also there, insectivorous plants are also there. Fine, but the insectivorous plants, we can say that they are partial heterotrophs, because they are green in color, so they are able to prepare their own food, and in spite of that they are getting their nutrients from the different kinds of the small living organism also. So we can say that the insectivorous plants, means the Venus flytrap plant or the pitcher plant etc., they are called as a partial heterotrophs. So once again we round up that what we have studied in the all chapter. So all organisms need food and utilize it to get energy for the growth and maintenance of their body. As all of us know that being an organism, being a human beings, we all require some kind of the energy for doing different kinds of the life processes, as well as for doing any kind of the work. So all of us needed some kind of the nutrient, being an animal or being a human being, all of us, plants, animals, human beings, all require some kind of the energy, some kind of the nutrient for the growth and maintenance of their body, and for doing different kinds of the life processes. Now the next one, we have studied that how the plants are able to prepare their own food. The plants are able to prepare their own food by the process of the photosynthesis, and by using which organic raw materials? By using the carbon dioxide, water, sunlight etc., the plants are able to prepare their own food. And that's why, since the plants are able to prepare their own food, that's why they are called as the autotrophs, because auto means self. The next one, we have studied that some kind of the plants are there, they comes under the heterotrophic mode of the nutrition, because they are not able to prepare their own food. So the example of the heterotrophic mode of the nutrition is the Cascata plant, fine, or you can say that the marble plant. Now Cascata plant is called as a parasite. Why it is called as a parasite? Because it is fulfilling its requirement from the particular plant on which it is climbing. So from the plant on which it is getting its nutrients, it is called as a host, and the Cascata or the marble is called what? A marble is called as a parasite, because it is getting the nutrient from that particular plant on which it has climbed. Now the next one is plants use the chemical substances like the carbohydrates. As all of us know that which inorganic raw material we are using the carbon dioxide, water and minerals for preparing the food, for the synthesis of the food. Now the next one is the chlorophyll. Water, carbon dioxide and sunlight are the essential requirements of the photosynthesis. All of us know that these all are the inorganic raw materials which the plants obtain from the environment, and by using these inorganic raw materials, the plants are able to prepare their own food. Now the complex chemical substances such as the carbohydrates are the product of the photosynthesis. This also we have read that the plants are able to synthesize the carbohydrates, but other than carbohydrates, the plants are also able to synthesize the proteins, vitamins etc. Now protein is what? Protein is a kind of the nitrogenous substances. So for preparing this nitrogenous substances, plants also need some kind of the nitrogen, And how they are utilizing the nitrogen? Nitrogen they are utilizing with the help of the bacteria. Now the role of the bacteria is what? That it converts the gases nitrogen into the soluble form. It is releases into the soil, and thus the plants absorb the minerals along with the water, and thus they are able to prepare the nitrogenous substances like the proteins, vitamins, etc. Now see, solar energy, how it is absorbed? It is absorbed by a chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is what? Chlorophyll is a green color pigment which is found in the leaves of a plant. So photosynthesis takes place in the presence of the chlorophyll, in the presence of the solar energy. Now, as we all know that when the process of the photosynthesis takes place, then a byproduct is also released, that is called as the oxygen. Now, oxygen is a byproduct that is necessary for all the living organism, for the human beings. As a human beings, how we are able to survive? Just because of the oxygen. Because the oxygen will not be there, then also we are not able to survive anymore. Now the next one, many fungi derive the nutrition from the dead and decaying matter. This is another example of the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, that is called as the saprotrophs. So saprotrophs are what? Saprotrophs are those kind of the plants which are not green in color, and they are getting their nutrition from the dead and the decaying matter. They means they are dependent on the dead and the decaying matter. So these kinds of the organism or these kinds of the plants are called as a saprotrophs, and the mode of nutrition is called what? Then the mode of nutrition is called as the saprotrophic mode of the nutrition. Now the next one is, a few plants and all animals are dependent on others. As we all know that being a human beings, different kinds of the animals and some kinds of the plants are also there which are not green in color. They all comes under the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, means these all organisms are dependent on the other organism for fulfilling their requirement. So this is all about the nutrition in the plants. Hope you have understood the chapter very well. And if you like the video, then you can like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you everyone, and for more improvement regarding to this video, you can give your suggestions below in the comment box. Thank you everyone.